Hi, and welcome back to Gardog the Gamorrean Star Wars Miniatures Tutorials. In this video, I want to provide everything you will need to play a sample skirmish that will give you a feel for the game, but won't take too long. The characters I've chosen will allow you to play with the basic rules and a couple of fairly simple special abilities and commander effects, without going overboard. To play this sample skirmish, I'll provide virtually everything you need right here. I'll provide a map, character markers to use in place of figures, stats cards and a 20-sided die. The only thing you'll need is to have access to a printer to print out 2 pieces of paper. Alright, let's get started. First is the map. You are more than welcome to print out one of the maps that can be found on the shared folder in OneDrive that I mentioned in my previous video, but to keep it simple, I would just print out this very basic map that I've quickly made. I've put a link to the shared folder in the comments so you can easily access it. The solid lines are walls, and I've labeled all of the special squares where required, so you don't even need to print it in color. Also, included at the bottom are a couple of markers that you can use in place of figures. For this sample skirmish, it doesn't matter if the squares aren't 1 inch, because the character markers are the equivalent size. When you cut out the character markers, just cut them a bit on the inside of the line to make it easier if a couple of characters occupy adjacent squares. So that's the first 2 things ticked off the list. Next are the stats cards. You can print the real thing from Swinefeld's shared OneDrive folder, or Rebel Scum, as detailed in my last video, but if you don't want to go to any trouble, I've quickly made these simplified versions of them with all of the required details to make it nice and easy. The file is in the same shared folder as the sample map. The only thing left now is a 20-sided die. If you've already got one, great, but if you don't stress, just use an online version like this one. The link for this is in the comments too, so just access it on your mobile phone or tablet, and when you're playing you'll have a portable electronic 20-sided die. Now that you have everything you need, let's get started. One person will play as the rebels, with only 3 characters, a rebel captain and 2 rebel troopers. And the other will play as the Imperials, with 4 characters, a stormtrooper officer, 2 stormtroopers and 1 snow trooper. The squads may not immediately seem even with the number of characters each squad has, but the rebel captain's twin attack is a very useful special ability, and especially when he grants it to the rebel troopers via his commander effect, provided they are within 6 squares of him at the time they attack. To set up, place one squad in the top left corner, and the other in the bottom right. It doesn't matter which of those corners you start from, as both halves of the map are identical. Place all of your characters as close to the corner as possible, something like this. Hopefully, with everything I've provided, it makes it easy for you to play a skirmish, allowing you to get a feel for the game, without being too complicated. Once you've finished this first skirmish, you and your opponent should swap squads and go again. After playing a couple of games, hopefully you'll be keen to play more and want to spend the time, effort, and more than likely a bit of money, to get yourself set up properly. This was the last in this series of videos, so I want to say thank you for watching them, and I hope you enjoy playing the Star Wars miniatures game, as much as I do.